Mm-hmm.
And the ego will allow us to sort of tell a story. Well, I don't have to prove myself to anyone. I don't have to prove myself to you. I don't um, want to, you know, scuff up my shoes and scuff up my knees and dive for this baller. I don't want to, you know, go out of my way to you know to attain this particular goal
Yeah.
or achievement because I don't have anything to prove. And it's really fear saying, what if I don't? What if I don't get this ball? What if I dive on the floor and I don't get the ball? Or what if
Mm-hmm.
I, you know, get up to do this speech and I fall flat on my face, or I don't, you know, it doesn't resonate with my audience, and you know, we will tend to just avoid those opportunities, but we can't grow without them, right?
Yeah. I mean, you literally cannot grow without some form of like humility, some form of like being outside of your comfort zone. Like think about plants, like they're in the dirt, like all we see is a seed, and then they start to sprout up. Like they've got to go low before they get higher. And
Mm,
so same thing with like a baby crawling. Like
yeah.
they've got to fall in order to learn how to like even stretch those muscles and walk. But I think, it goes back to, I think we have this misconception of like pride. We feel like it's always people who are like vocally, like super cocky or come across really confident, like that bravado that you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to prove anything to anyone, but the underlying part of it is fear. And I would even say on the flip side, for people who are like, well, who am I to, apply for this job, or who am I to start this business? Both of them are actually this over um, consumption of self. They're like both hyper attentive to oneself, which doesn't serve you long term at the end of the day. Being hyper concerned with what you can do, what you can't do, how other people think about you doesn't always actually serve you as a person. And so that's one of the things I've had to learn is even if I'm not presenting as like super confident in a situation, sometimes my focusing on my insecurities or the things that I don't think I do well is still this like hyper focus on self that prevents me from being able to like meet my bigger picture goals. It prevents me from being able to achieve what I really want to achieve.
Yeah, no, that's good, and it's exactly that, right? Where the ego is trying to protect us, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it has convinced us that there's something dangerous out there, but I mean, it's typically not any life or death situations. I mean, you know, most of us have stumbled across, you know, I'm stammering now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can't find the appropriate words. It feels like a really big moment, and we've kind of dropped the ball. But you find them, and then you move on. And this thought that anyone out here is sort of, you know, batting 1,000 or doing everything perfectly. It's just not realistic, and it's not it's untrue. And so the more we lean into our imperfections, um, it allows us to inspire other people to get out of
Yeah.
their comfort zones and to make these mistakes, because there's super exciting things on the other side of that. You just gotta get down low, like you said, and before you can kind of sprout and fully bloom.
Yeah. I had two things that like counselors or mentors have said to me about the same topic. So one person said that a lot of the time when it comes to fear and anxiety, we're focusing 90% of our energy on something that maybe has a 10% probability of happening.
Mm,
And so what happens is we haven't accurately like put like just placed our energy. Like we haven't actively like really thought about what is the probability of this thing happening. But most likely it's somewhere between that like in between scenario is what is probably most likely to happen or better than that. And so what fear does is it's this hyper focus on this thing that may not actually come to pass or the way in which we see it. I had a therapist once say, she's like, it's like fighting ghosts. And so it's like planning for a ghost, is what she said. It's
Mm,
planning for a thing that you actually don't know is going to happen yet. You
yeah.
don't have proof that it's going to happen. It's sort of all in your mind. It's like fear is like a fun house. It's a distortion of a particular image. And so I think it's really important to like talk to people that you know and care about, to even write down like the evidence of what you've seen. Like write down your talents, write down your gifts, write down what you bring to the table so that you can combat that sort of invisible force that fear is. It's so that you can make it more realistic and give it an accurate, more clear picture instead of that like distorted funhouse image, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And um, I sometimes even think about worst case scenario and just say, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen? Right. And then
Yep.
once you think about it and kind of wrap your head around it, you can, it helps me move on. And then the other piece is just visualizing yourself being successful in those settings, right? So instead of worrying about the things that can go wrong, visualize yourself, you know, performing amazingly, right? And manifest, that on that end. Um, Sharonda, Thrive and Shine,
Yes.
um, consulting, coaching. Where can people find you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Sharonda and Simmons. My website, www.thrive, N is in Nancy, shinenow.com.
ThriveInShineNow.com.
Yes,
Thank you again for your contributions. I appreciate everyone who has continued to support me, and then also this Mindfulness Mondays.
yes.
Um, it's been great. So thank you again, Sharonda. I am Baxter E. Hall. All of you, whether you're listening, watching it, please like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. And until next time, peace.
Bye.
All right. Okay. I feel better.